Hello. So, for those who joined us at the OMHRA conference, as you know, we had some really great discussions surrounding employee engagement. And we had our panel of experts presenting some of the things that they've done in their municipalities in order to really bolster that engagement. And you had the chance to do some key takeaways. So, this part of the series is really just us kind of going through those takeaways and then some final kind of comments from our experts as well.
The interest in doing something like investing in leadership development, and there's an interest in there, but also identifying some of the barriers. And what I noticed, some of the conversations that I was having and Melanie and I were having were with smaller organizations that are going like, how do we do this on our own? But then thinking about coming together and doing bigger projects together. And I think that's a lot of the opportunity that I was seeing, especially amongst the room, is creating these relationships for people to be able to work together across municipalities to leverage people, budgets, et cetera, to do bigger things together and then create, again, relationships, connections. So I was excited and inspired by that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Melanie?
And I can echo that too. I thought it was really interesting. After we had just shared some information about the Thrive program, from the City of Barrie context, it was amazing to see the curiosity and discussion that emerged at each of the tables. People kind of talking about like what it's like in my organization, some of the challenges that they're faced with, and even talking about how such programs are implemented in municipality context as well. It was really great dialogue just to hear about the different cross section. Like Melanie mentioned, some organizations offer leadership programming in-house, and then some don't have any leadership programming at all. So I think we're all in different stages in that journey. And I just want to highlight that we were on this journey finding leadership programming post-pandemic, looking at what are the needs of our current and future workforce, and how can we start to build and create like a leadership strategy that's supporting leaders where they're at today and leaders in the future too. So it was really great conversation discussion. I left feeling really inspired, and kind of was great to hear what's happening in all these different organizations too.
Yeah, so thank you, Sarah. So some of the key takeaways I found was that, like we highlighted like the one size approach doesn't fit with everybody, and making sure a lot of the different departments have different needs, and how do you work with those departments to ensure they they meet their operational service requirements but still have an opportunity to participate in a 4-day work week. And I also kind of noticed that, there's always the perception about remote work isn't being as productive, because I think one of the areas I didn't necessarily mention in all of our sessions was we do allow for a 4-day work week, and we still allow for a remote work option for positions that are able to. And it always seems that the perception that remote working isn't always, may not be as productive, but generally we're finding that staff are still productive. And as long as you're having your touch base with your employees and you're meeting your objectives and your goals, you can still make sure that those employees are working productively at home as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there's been lots of research too that has showed that, in many cases, people are, happier working from home or remotely. They are just as productive. But then if you are having, maybe employees who aren't meeting those objectives or aren't, having, good touch bases with their leaders, then that's when maybe you can have more of a hybrid approach to help with some of that performance management, right?
And then I noticed that one of the key takeaways is about the concerns over the public backlash. And we found that through our surveys, we actually didn't experience a lot of public backlash to moving to a 4-day work week. There was a lot of support out in the public and with our constituents and our residents that for this 4-day work week, because we were able to open our admin center an additional hour each day. So we're now open from 4:30 to 5:30 every day, and it gives an extra hour each day, so a total of 5 hours of open service to the public. And they've highlighted that they enjoy that because they don't necessarily have to take time to come into the township office. They can leave a little, if they leave at 4:30 and they work close, they're still able to get in our admin center before it closes.
For sure. And I'm sure the people working in these environments, they're their neighbors, they're in their communities. Like you want what's best for your community, right? And everyone can appreciate that, when we're talking about, workplace well-being, satisfaction, work-life balance, having a 4-day work week really does help facilitate with that and provides flexibility for those who need it. So
Absolutely. And then we're also finding it's really helping with our recruitment and retention. So we found that our retention is definitely has gone up. So we had a high turnover. I think it was like, it said something about 16%. We got down to about 1% after the implementation of our 4-day work week. And then we're finding, because our location in Simcoe County, we're close to much bigger urban areas like the city of Barrie, or we're even within driving distance of places like within York region. And we're finding that the 4-day work week has been attracting staff from some of those larger urban centers to Springwater. And when I've been doing recruitment, I've been hearing, the 4-day work week has been one of the reasons that a lot of people are actually looking at Springwater. So it's really exciting that we've actually been able to secure some high-level talent as well.
Well, professional development, it's really just be a cheerleader and a supporter, and openly being in front of those efforts to advance the organization through professional development. It's tougher in a smaller organization because there's not always the chance to have, all kinds of lateral or upward opportunities in a small organization. So you have to really step into that and make it clear that, you want to have long-term relationships with your employees and you want them to develop professionally. And the reality is, even if that professional development is, maybe going to be benefit of somebody else, you still want to play a role in helping people, develop their skill set. And so again, you just basically got to lead, show that it's important to me as a leader.